On a quiet autumn morning, in a town where everyone knew everyone, a respected doctor failed to show up for work. Her car was still in the driveway. Her phone went straight to voicemail, and her front door was unlocked. What began as a routine missing persons case would soon unravel into one of the most disturbing true crime stories this town had ever seen, revealing secrets no one believed she had, and pointing investigators toward a suspect no one expected. This is the true crime story of Dr. Evelyn Carter. Ridgeway was the kind of small town people rarely left. Tucked between rolling farmland and a single two-lane highway, it was a place built on routine, familiarity, and trust. Crime was rare. Violent crime was almost unheard of. At the heart of Ridgeway stood Carter Family Medical Clinic. For more than a decade, Dr. Evelyn Carter had been its anchor. At 42 years old, Evelyn was known as dedicated, compassionate, and deeply private. She treated generations of families, delivering babies, managing chronic illness, and sitting with patients long after office hours had ended. She lived alone in a modest white house just 5 minutes from the clinic. Neighbors described her as polite but reserved. No spouse, no children, no obvious enemies. Which is why, when she didn't arrive at work on October 14th, concerns spread fast. By noon, the clinic staff had contacted police. By nightfall, the town was holding its breath. When officers arrived at Dr. Carter's home, nothing appeared immediately wrong. There were no signs of forced entry, no broken windows, no visible struggle. Her purse sat on the kitchen counter. Her keys were inside. Her wallet was untouched. The house looked paused, as if she'd stepped out briefly and never returned. But one detail stood out. Her car, a dark blue sedan, was still parked in the driveway. Investigators quickly ruled out a voluntary disappearance. Evelyn had patients scheduled that day, prescriptions to approve, follow-ups she never missed. Something had gone wrong, and as the hours turned into days, fear set in. Police initially suspected a random act of violence. Perhaps someone passing through town. A burglary gone wrong. An opportunistic predator. Search teams scoured nearby woods, fields, and abandoned buildings. Dogs tracked her scent to the edge of her property, then lost it. The community rallied. Candlelight vigils filled the town square. Flyers appeared in shop windows and on telephone poles. Local news picked up the story. How could someone vanish without a trace in a town like this? But behind the scenes, investigators were beginning to question the narrative they'd built around Dr. Carter. Because the deeper they looked, the more complicated her life appeared. Evelyn Carter was respected, but she was also guarded. Phone records revealed dozens of calls to a number registered outside the county. Bank statements showed unexplained cash withdrawals. And then there were the emails. Deleted but partially recoverable. They revealed a relationship no one in Ridgeway knew about. For nearly 2 years, Evelyn had been involved in a secret affair. The man wasn't from town. He was married, and he had something to lose. Investigators tracked him down for questioning. He admitted to the affair but denied any involvement in her disappearance. Then came another revelation. Evelyn had recently changed her will, and she'd updated her clinic's ownership paperwork. Someone stood to benefit from her absence. Attention slowly shifted closer to home. A colleague, a trusted figure, someone who knew her routines. Dr. Michael Reeves. He had worked alongside Evelyn for years. He was charming, respected, and deeply embedded in the community. But records showed rising tension between them. Financial disputes over clinic expansion, arguments about patient care decisions, and emails hinting at a confrontation days before she vanished. When investigators searched Reeves' property, they found something troubling. Evelyn's phone, hidden inside a toolbox in his garage. Reeves claimed she had left it there during an argument. But forensic data told a different story. Her phone last pinged near his property, hours after she was reported missing. The narrative was collapsing. Under pressure, Reeves' story began to change. He admitted they'd argued the night before she disappeared. He said she'd threatened to expose financial misconduct tied to the clinic. But he insisted she left on her own. Investigators didn't believe him. A renewed search of nearby land led to a grim discovery. Buried near a disused construction site just outside town were human remains. Dental records confirmed what everyone feared. Dr. Evelyn Carter was dead. The cause? Blunt force trauma. The truth had finally surfaced, but the town would never be the same. Michael Reeves was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. Prosecutors argued the crime was fueled by desperation, fear of exposure, loss of status, and financial ruin. He was convicted 2 years later. For Ridgway, the verdict brought closure but not peace. The clinic closed its doors. Trust fractured, and the town learned a painful truth. You can live your entire life among people you think you know, and still never truly see them. Dr. Evelyn Carter was remembered not for how she died, but for the lives she healed. And in Ridgway, her name is still spoken quietly, as a reminder that even the safest places can hide the darkest secrets. If you found this true crime story compelling, consider subscribing for more real crime documentaries and unsolved mysteries. Because some stories refuse to stay buried.